Hello everybody and welcome back to Fantasy Football Fix. My name's FPL Phillips and welcome to this week's episode of Your Quick Guide, the FPL series where we're taking you through the top captain picks and top 10 predicted point scorers of Game Week 24 this time, as well as a look at the upcoming fixtures, including how to navigate the upcoming double and blank Game Week 25 plus blank Game Week 28, which is also on the horizon as well. So should be an informative one for all of you guys. Make sure to drop a like at the end if you did enjoy. Without any further ado, let's get into things, shall we? And as always here, we're going to be kicking things off with the captain discussion. And it is a bit more of a tight one this week. We're not just immediately going and captaining Erling Haaland. That seems to be the case for quite a lot of this season. However, he is still top of the predicted points for this week, as you can see, with 5.8 in that top row there of this table. Harry Kane and Marcus Rashford are two other players that I'd be considering for the armband too. Harry Kane only marginally behind Erling Haaland on 5.7 predicted points for himself. So let's take a look at some of the other underlying data and see if there's any kind of argument for going for someone other than Erling Haaland this week. Well, live ownership plays a part. If you want someone who's a little bit more of a differential, of course you're going to sway away from going for Erling Haaland. That does ultimately come with a cost of the fact that if Erling Haaland hauls and you've not captained him, it can be pretty catastrophic for your overall rank in the world. So yeah, 52% live ownership for Harry Kane, and live ownership is a little bit different from normal ownership, if you don't know, by the fact that it eliminates all the dead teams. So this is a much more accurate representation of the FPL managers who are actually playing the game, how many of them are the ones that actually own these assets. But Marcus Rashford is way up there at 84% as well, so he's not perhaps as much of a differential as you would think, at least to own, but as a captain, he would certainly be a differential option, I'm sure, for that home fixture against Leicester that Marcus Rashford's got, that I think is rather tempting. Mainly because Marcus Rashford has been in absolutely astonishing form at home. He cannot stop scoring at Old Trafford, so I think there's definitely worth some consideration going into that as well. Erling Haaland plays Nottingham Forest, which seems like a pretty decent fixture on paper, but the underlying data actually suggests that Forest have been pretty good at home as of late. So on the road for Man City doesn't look like the easiest fixture, and I'd argue that Rashford's fixture at home is probably an easier one than that Nottingham Forest away fixture for Haaland. Harry Kane's got West Ham at home, which doesn't look too bad of a fixture either, but when we look towards the underlying data, it's unsurprisingly Erling Haaland who tops all the metrics. The opponent expected goals conceded, Nottingham Forest are still highest there. Where we take into account the home and away fixtures, however, it does get a lot more close, and Leicester, I think, overtake on the road. They're worse than Nottingham Forest are at home defensively, which you can actually filter and look at over on the OptaStats section of the Fantasy Football Fix website. So I definitely recommend checking out the link in the description to give that a play around for yourself. In terms of expected goals, as teams, Manchester City are still the best looking attack out of the three here. 2.03 expected goals per 90, which is a very, very good number compared to Manchester United and Spurs, down at 1.52 and 1.38 respectively. And then Haaland as an individual asset, 7.81 expected FPL points per 90, a very, very nice total for him, with Harry Kane in second and Marcus Rashford all the way down there in third. But as mentioned, I think the home and away aspects do play into this a little bit more than you would think. So would I captain this week? I still think sticking the captain armband on Erling Haaland is really the only recommendation I can give. I think it's the safest play. If you want a differential, Rashford would be my pick. I am still marginally tempted to go for him myself. It really depends on the current state of play with your team, your overall rank, your mini league. You don't have to be taking risks this early, but I think this game week looks like a pretty nice one to do so. Game week 25, of course, we're going to be looking to maybe captain a double game week player, so people won't be captaining Haaland every game week from now on, is what I'm saying. But I still think for this week, the Norwegian probably looks like he should be taking your armband for game week 24. When we look at the overall top 10 predicted points, I mentioned that Erling Haaland is going to be top of that on 5.8, with Kane just behind on, as mentioned, 5.7. Bruno Fernandes is actually the man who comes in on third with 5.3, again, with that home fixture against Leicester for the Red Devils. Tony then on 5.2, along with Heung-min Son and Rashford and De Bruyne down there on 5.0 apiece. Kepa comes in on 4.9, which will be nice to see for owners of the Spaniard, with Saka and Perisic on 4.9. So some pretty as expected assets. Maybe a few surprises sneaking in there. Perisic with Spurs' defensive form, not sure I can see too much of a hole in it for him there. Whether he gets an attacking return or a goal would be the only way I see a decent pick in there. But I think we should urge away from Spurs defence right now, basically. They do have a nice set of fixtures coming up, but I think Kane's the only one you really need to own from that Spurs back line right now, whilst keeping an eye maybe on Pedro Porro, who's come in, of course, in January. But yeah, not really a surprising top 10 predicted points, but could be helpful with your teams and deciding what to do. But let's move into having a look at the main discussion of this video, and what I think is going to be most helpful, to be honest, is having a look at these upcoming fixtures that we can see. As always, split into attacking and defensive difficulty, so you can make different choices depending on the position of the player you're wanting to bring in. And it's Arsenal who tapped up the attacking fixtures, I should say, with a double game week in game week 25 still to come, having just had one in game week 23. They've got Villa away in 24 as well, and Bournemouth at home in 26. So it's no surprise really that they're top of the attacking fixture difficulty. If you're not on an Arsenal triple up already, I still think you definitely recommend getting one. I think we've got the game on Wednesday evening, which of course I've not seen yet because this video is going out on Wednesday lunchtime. But unless something goes catastrophically wrong for Arsenal in that game, I can't see any reason to not complete your Arsenal triple up if you haven't done so already. Going into game week 24 and game week 25 is key. Everton, Wolves and Liverpool then, with their double game weeks in game week 25, make it into the top 5 here for attacking fixture difficulty. Everton and Wolves, I don't think there are too many attackers that are even worth a look at. I was maybe even looking at the underlying data. Dwight McNeil doesn't look like too bad an option, but really I think Liverpool are going to be the main attack to focus on. They've come back with a win. They seem to be playing themselves maybe back into a bit of form, it could seem. So Darwin, Salah, maybe even Cody Gakpo, Jota returning from injury as well, that you can see in this graphic, are the ones to be looking at, and maybe even as potential captain options for game week 25 when we get to that. And we've got the double for them and blanks for teams like Man United and Newcastle, who won't play that same game week as well. Southampton are then the final team making up the top 5 with a double game week in game week 27. The main reason they sneak in here at the bottom, but no attackers I'm interested in from the Saints. When we move across to the defensive fixture difficulty, we've got Liverpool and Arsenal making up the top 2, so Trent Alexander-Arnold could finally once again be actually worth a look in after the death of premium defence in about game week 3 of this season. We've not had a look at him since, really. Arsenal then in game week 25, and then we've got Everton in game week 25 as well. Those two doubles playing again once into the defensive fixture difficulty. I think maybe Everton, you could look more at a defender rather than going for an attacker. Someone like Tarkowski you could even go for. There are options in that Everton backline if you're banking on Sean Dyche making them a more defensively solid unit. Finally then, we've got Spurs and Brentford making up the rest of the top 5. I think Brentford look like a decent team. Unfortunately, it's the blank in game week 25 that's going to mean we're probably going to have to avoid their assets for now. Whether you could bring in someone like a Ben Mee after 25 in game week 26 maybe to capitalise on that double in game week 27 could be a very decent option. However, for now, when most of us own like Rashford, Trippier, one other asset who's blanking in game week 25 already that we're going to need to bench all 3 of, we can't really afford to be bringing in any players from teams who are going to blank in that game week, which is why players like Matoma you're probably going to have to hold off on now until we've had game week 25 passed and gone. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this week's edition of The Quick Guide. Let me know what you thought of it down below in the comments, and let me know if it was helpful, what elements you'd like to see, anything you'd change, of course, as well. Be sure to subscribe if you are new to the Fantasy Football Fix YouTube channel, but I'm going to leave you here and wish you the best of luck for game week 24. I'll see you tomorrow, however, for Eddie versus the algorithm, so make sure to tune into that if you fancy it. I'll see you very soon, everyone. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.